God says, "My child, come closer to me now, because what I am about to reveal is something your heart was never prepared to hear." You have been moving through your days with trust in your eyes, with love in your heart, and with the belief that the person connected to your soul would never keep hidden corners from you. But life is not always as simple as the stories we build in our minds. There are truths that grow quietly in the background, away from your sight, not always meant to deceive, but sometimes shaped by fear and circumstance. Today, I bring you one of those truths. Your soulmate is involved with the police in a way you did not know, not as a betrayal of you, but as a part of a situation they have been pulled into, something that has required them to cooperate, respond, or navigate pressures they never wished to be part of. This has been unfolding in spaces you were never invited into, not because you are unimportant, but because they were trying to shield you from confusion and worry. And I see the moment your thoughts begin to race, trying to fill in the blanks, trying to turn uncertainty into conclusions. I ask you instead to pause, to breathe, and to listen without letting fear write the story too quickly. They did not choose secrecy to harm you, but to manage a burden they did not fully understand themselves when it began. There are layers here you have not yet seen, and they have been carrying them alone longer than you realize. What comes next will require patience, not panic. Someone approached them. Someone who carried authority, power, and knowledge about something your soulmate knew. Something the authorities needed in order to stop a rising danger. Your soulmate didn't volunteer. They were pulled. They were questioned. They were cornered. They were told things that shook them. And in that moment, they made a decision they believed would keep you safe, but also keep you in the dark. My child, your soulmate has been living a double life emotionally, loving you on one side and carrying a secret burden on the other. They have been trying to shield you from something they believed would disturb your peace, your stability, your mental balance. They thought they were protecting you. They thought silence was the safest choice. But silence has grown heavy, and truth is rising like the sun, and I am here to prepare your heart before the truth reaches you through any other path. There is a reason I did not let you remain blind. You have been feeling strange energy around you. You have felt moments when your soulmate suddenly became distant, nervous, or cautious. They asked you odd questions. They changed their normal routines. They suddenly avoided certain topics. They sometimes stared at their phone with worry. They suddenly traveled less, or traveled more. They made excuses. They took calls privately. They seemed stressed over things they refused to explain. You felt it, my child. You sensed it. You saw the shift, even when you didn't have words for it. And now, I tell you why. Your soulmate has been in communication with the police about something that involves more people than you think, and more danger than you were aware of. But do not panic. You are not the target. You are not in trouble. You are not guilty. You are not involved in anything wrong. But someone around your soulmate is. And the police needed the truth that only your soulmate could provide. My child, you must understand this carefully. Your soulmate did not do this to betray you. They did not step forward to harm you. They stepped forward because they were pushed into a situation where they had to choose between fear and responsibility. And even though they were scared, they chose to act. But in doing so, they also chose to hide it from you. Inside their heart, there is a storm. They are afraid of you discovering the truth. They worry that you might misunderstand, that you might feel hurt, that you might distance yourself, or that you might think they were doing something against you. But they were not. They were protecting you, even when their method was flawed. They were shielding you from unnecessary fear. They were trying to carry the weight alone, but the weight has grown too heavy. I am revealing this to you now, because the time for truth is approaching. The police involvement is not something that will stay hidden for long. There will be movement soon. There will be conversations. There will be results. And when these things begin to unfold, I want you to be emotionally prepared. I want your heart steady. I want your spirit calm. I want your mind anchored in truth, not assumptions. My child, your soulmate has cried quietly over this. They have regretted hiding it. They have wished they could tell you everything, but fear kept sealing their lips. They did not want you to carry their burden. They did not want your nights filled with anxiety. They did not want to expose you to danger. So instead, they carried it alone, hoping one day they could explain everything when the storm settles. There are situations in life where people become entangled in circumstances they did not fully anticipate, and while they try to manage those situations, they often carry them privately rather than exposing everything at once. This is not always about secrecy in a harmful sense, but about uncertainty, timing, and the difficulty of explaining complex experiences before they are resolved. When someone feels responsible for navigating something difficult, they may choose silence temporarily, not to shut others out, but to avoid causing unnecessary fear or confusion until they understand the situation more clearly themselves. In such states, communication becomes limited, not by lack of care, but by emotional overload and the need to process events internally. For the person waiting on the outside, this can create worry and imagination that fills in gaps with worst-case interpretations. That is why clarity in relationships rarely comes from speculation. It comes from eventual conversation, where facts replace assumptions and emotional truth can be expressed directly. Until that happens, the most stable approach is to hold space for uncertainty without turning it into certainty of harm or betrayal. Most misunderstandings in emotionally intense situations come not from what is happening, but from how quickly the mind tries to finalize meaning before all information is available. What feels like a hidden story is often just an unfinished one. And when authorities began tracking that situation, they realized your soulmate was one of the few people who unknowingly held information that could expose the truth. Your soulmate didn't know. Your soulmate didn't participate. Your soulmate didn't support it. But they were connected through the past, through conversations, messages, memories, or associations that had nothing to do with wrongdoing, yet became evidence for investigators. And so, the police reached out. The authorities questioned them. Your soulmate felt fear rise inside them, like a storm they were not prepared to face. My beloved child, imagine the weight on their chest the moment they realized they were being pulled into a situation they never chose. Imagine the panic inside them, wondering how this happened, why their name was mentioned, why their peace was threatened. And then imagine the fear of telling you, the fear of seeing disappointment in your eyes, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of losing you because of something they never intended to be part of. This fear is what made them hide the truth from you, not arrogance, not betrayal, not deception meant to harm you. Fear. Raw, painful, overwhelming fear. But there is another layer, my beloved child. A deeper truth, a hidden wound, a shocking cause behind their silence. Your soulmate did not hide the truth only to protect themselves. They hid it to protect you. Because the moment the police spoke to them, they realized something terrible. If the wrong people found out your soulmate was cooperating, you could also become a target by association. Your soulmate felt your safety trembling like a candle in the wind. They imagined danger touching your life. They imagined you being questioned, dragged, or blamed, and the thought of that shattered them. So they chose silence. They chose to carry the pressure alone. They chose to swallow their fear and pretend to be normal around you. They chose to hide their trembling hands, their sleepless nights, their guilt, and their anxiety. My beloved child, this silence has been eating them from inside. They want to tell you. They want to confess everything. They want to fall into your arms and cry out all the fear they've been burying. But they cannot. Not yet. Because the investigation is still ongoing. Because the situation is not safe. Because revealing the truth at the wrong moment might make everything worse for both of you. Your soulmate believes that if they hold on just a little longer, if they cooperate just a little more, if they stay strong for a bit more time, then the danger will pass and they can finally breathe again. Then they can finally tell you everything without fear. Then they can finally collapse into your embrace and let the truth flow out like tears. My beloved child, you have wondered why your soulmate has been acting differently. You have wondered why their eyes sometimes carry heaviness. You have wondered why their hands sometimes shake, why their voice sometimes cracks, why their smile sometimes feels forced. It is because inside them they are carrying a storm that they never wanted you to see. But listen to me. What they are doing for love, for protection, for you. Your soulmate feels responsible for your safety more than their own. They worry more about your peace than their own. They fear harm touching you more than harm touching them. Even though you don't see the battles they are fighting, their love for you is present in every choice they are making. But my beloved child, this situation is not just about their past. It is connected to a danger that has quietly been rising around you too. Before I reveal that deeper danger, the one your soulmate has been silently shielding you from, my beloved child, sit with me again, because the truth is about to go even deeper. What I am about to reveal is not meant to frighten you, only to awaken you, protect you, and help you understand the silent storm your soulmate has been standing inside. You have seen the weight on their shoulders. You have sensed the shift in their heart. You have felt something around you that your eyes could not define. Today, I will show you why. You believe your soulmate was secretly working with the police because of something from their past. But the truth is, this situation is also connected to you. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you are in trouble, not because you are guilty, but because someone else tried to bring your name into something dark. My beloved child, listen carefully. There is a person, someone you know, someone who has watched you, someone who carries jealousy or resentment in their spirit. When clarity is missing, even small changes in behavior can feel significant. A delayed response, a quieter tone, or a shift in availability can trigger interpretation, especially when emotions are already involved. The human brain is highly sensitive to inconsistency, so it attempts to resolve it by constructing meaning, sometimes turning uncertainty into patterns that feel more complete than what is actually known. This is where misunderstanding can grow, when interpretation replaces information. In reality, responsible communication is what reduces anxiety on both sides, not silent protection or withheld explanations. People often think they are helping by not sharing details, but secrecy can unintentionally increase confusion and emotional distance. What helps instead is gradual honesty, shared context, and allowing questions to be asked directly rather than inferred. Emotional care does not require hidden action or dramatic assumptions. It usually comes down to clarity, timing, and openness that respects both people's ability to process information. When those elements are missing, the mind will naturally try to fill the gap. But those internal narratives should not be mistaken for confirmed reality. Because my beloved child, the danger was not just around them. It was around you also. Someone wanted to involve you, use your name, or bring your identity into a situation that could have destroyed your peace. Your soulmate refused to let that happen. They stepped into the fire so you would not burn. They took the risk so you would remain safe. They gave statements, information, and evidence. Some about their past, some about the person who tried to drag you in, just to keep you protected. And the police realized something important. Your soulmate wasn't part of the problem. Your soulmate became the shield. So the authorities asked them not to tell you, not because they wanted to hide it from you, but because revealing the truth too soon could have made the danger worse. My beloved child, the danger around you was invisible, but real. There were energies, people, plans, and intentions forming behind your back. Your soulmate knew it. Your soulmate fought it. Your soulmate stood between you and people who wished to see you harmed, blamed, or dragged into someone else's mess. This is why they have been so stressed. This is why they have been so protective. This is why they have been so silent. Inside their heart, they have been carrying a fear. What if something happens to you because of this? What if the danger reaches you? What if you misunderstand everything? What if you think they betrayed you? This fear has been eating them alive. My beloved child, They didn't distance themselves because they don't love you. They distanced themselves because they were trying not to bring their fear onto your shoulders. They didn't hide things because they wanted to deceive you. They hid them because they were trying to solve everything quietly. But here is the deeper truth. Your soulmate is not the only one aware of the danger around you. Heaven has been watching. I have been watching. My angels have been guarding you. There have been moments, yes, my child, when I blocked certain plans, stopped certain people, and diverted certain actions that were meant to harm you. There were places I prevented you from going. There were people I removed from your life. There were situations I kept you away from. You thought it was coincidence. You thought it was luck. You thought it was timing. But it was protection. Divine protection. And now, as the investigation moves forward, something important is happening. The danger that once surrounded you is collapsing. The people who tried to harm your peace are being exposed. The truth that was hidden is rising to the surface. The lies spoken against you are falling apart. But your soulmate, they are tired. They are worn out. They are emotionally bruised from fighting a silent war. They have been playing the role of a warrior without armor, bleeding in silence, trembling alone, fearing what every new day might bring. You have no idea how many times they wanted to tell you everything, how many times they typed messages and deleted them, how many times they rehearsed the truth in their mind but froze in fear, how many times they wished they could just fall into your arms and say, I didn't want to hide this. I was protecting you. I was scared. Please understand. My beloved child, the truth is unfolding now. The danger is being removed. The hidden enemy is being exposed. The investigation is nearing a turning point. My beloved child, come closer again, because now I must reveal the part of the story that has been hidden even from your imagination, the part your soulmate never wanted you to know, the part that shows the true depth of their love, the part that shows the silent sacrifices they have been making for you while pretending to live a normal life. You saw their distance. You felt their heaviness. You sensed something was wrong. But you didn't know the truth. Your soulmate has been sacrificing their own peace, their own sleep, their own safety to protect you. My beloved child, listen deeply. When the investigation first began, your soulmate was terrified. Their hands were shaking. Their heart felt like it was drowning in fear. Their mind was screaming with questions. Why me? How did this happen? What will I do now? How do I protect the one I love? But instead of collapsing, instead of running away, instead of choosing selfishness, they chose courage. And the very first thought they had was you, not themselves, not their own life, not their reputation, not their comfort. You. They said your name in their prayers. They begged for your safety. They cried because they feared danger touching your world. There were nights when sleep simply didn't come for them, not because of anything dramatic or cinematic, but because their mind refused to settle. They would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying conversations, outcomes, and possibilities they couldn't fully control. Anxiety tightened their appetite, made food feel unnecessary, and even simple words became difficult to form when they tried to speak about what they were feeling. It was a quiet kind of overwhelm, one that doesn't always show on the outside, but takes up all the space inside. During a particularly tense and uncertain period in their life, they found themselves constantly trying to prevent things from spilling over into places where they didn't belong. And in those moments, thoughts of you would surface, not as obsession, but as concern, a steady, protective awareness that hoped you would remain untouched by circumstances that weren't yours to carry. They made efforts in conversations and decisions to keep boundaries clear, to ensure that your name or your life was not pulled into situations that could create unnecessary stress or misunderstanding. It wasn't about control or interference in any larger system of events, but about responsibility in the way they spoke, acted, and redirected attention away from you when needed. What mattered most to them was simple, that you remained safe, emotionally and practically, from anything chaotic around them. And even though they rarely expressed this out loud, that concern stayed with them in every decision they made during that time. There were days recently when your soulmate broke down emotionally. They cried in silence. They held their head in their hands and whispered, "I can't lose them. Please don't let anything happen to them." Their biggest fear was not the police, not the investigation, not the danger. Their biggest fear was losing you. They feared that if you knew the truth, you might feel hurt, you might misunderstand, you might walk away, you might question their loyalty, you might think they betrayed you, and that thought tore them apart. My beloved child, do you know how many times they stood outside your name in their phone, wanting to call you and confess everything, only to delete the message, only to put down the phone, only to swallow their pain and act normal? They cried for you, they prayed for you, they fought for you, they risked for you, because you were worth every sacrifice. But there is something even deeper, something that explains why your soulmate kept choosing to sacrifice themselves instead of letting you see their pain. Your soulmate doesn't feel worthy of you right now. They feel guilty, they feel ashamed, they feel like they are dragging darkness into your light. They feel like they are not good enough for your love. They feel like they are failing you by keeping you in the dark. They feel like they are damaging your peace with their troubled life. Inside their heart, there is a voice whispering, "They deserve better than me. They deserve someone without problems. They deserve someone without danger around them. They deserve peace, and I am not giving them peace." This voice has been hurting your soulmate, but they continue loving you despite their pain. They distance themselves sometimes, not because they don't love you, but because they love you too much to let you see them broken. They stay silent not because they want to hide, but because they don't want to put fear in your heart. They pretend to be strong, not because they are strong, but because they want you to feel safe. My beloved child, your soulmate is fighting a battle you cannot see, a battle where they stand between you and danger, a battle where their heart is the shield protecting you. But something is changing now. Something big. Something that will shift everything. The investigation is reaching a critical point. The truth is coming out. The enemy, who tried to drag your name, is being exposed. The danger is losing power. And soon, very soon, the burden on your soulmate will lighten. But before that happens, you need to know one more truth. A truth that will shock you. A truth that will show you why heaven had to intervene. A truth about who was trying to pull you into danger. My child, listen softly as I continue to hold your spirit in my hands. And as you enter this part of the journey, I want you to breathe slowly, because what I am about to reveal will touch the deepest corners of your heart. You have walked through storms of confusion, shadows of fear, and moments when tears were the only language your soul understood. Yet even then, I was guiding you. Even then, I was whispering into the spaces you thought were empty. Even then, I was preparing you for the truth you are now finally strong enough to hear. Your soulmate's heart is trembling right now, not because of you, but because the forces around them are pulling them into a darkness they never intended to walk into. And while you stand with a heart full of love, someone else is standing with a mind full of intentions that do not come from purity, love, or divine alignment. There are moments when doubt spreads quietly through a person's thoughts, and suddenly even ordinary emotions start to feel heavier than they are. In that state, it can become difficult to tell what is coming from inside, and what is being influenced by stress, misunderstanding, or outside opinions. Your soulmate has been moving through a period like that, mentally restless, emotionally unsettled, trying to make sense of feelings that don't resolve easily. It hasn't always been clear to them why certain thoughts linger or why certain emotions feel stronger at times, but what is forming now is a gradual shift toward clarity rather than confusion. At the same time, you may also notice your own emotional responses feeling sharper or more sensitive than usual. That can happen when there is uncertainty in a connection that matters deeply to you. The mind tries to fill in gaps, interpret distance, and make meaning out of silence. It doesn't mean you are absorbing someone else's emotions or that something external is controlling your feelings. It usually means you care, and your thoughts are actively trying to process that care under conditions that don't feel fully stable yet. What matters most in this phase is not assuming hidden forces or fixed explanations, but allowing space for clearer understanding to emerge. People under emotional pressure can be influenced by fear, miscommunication, and the opinions of others, but they can also find their way back to more grounded thinking when things slow down and become more honest. That is what change usually looks like in real life. Not sudden revelations, but gradual correction of perspective as confusion settles. If there is something to hold on to here, it is this. Clarity tends to return when assumptions are softened and communication becomes more direct. When people feel less pressure to interpret everything perfectly, they are better able to understand each other as they are, rather than through fear or speculation. Every false belief they held about you is crumbling. Every doubt planted in their heart is dissolving. Every illusion someone tried to cover them with is fading. Because when I decide to reveal truth, no force in heaven or hell can hide it. My child, even now, your soulmate is remembering moments with you that they buried under fear. They are replaying conversations they ignored. They are realizing your silence spoke more love than someone else's constant noise. They are realizing your presence healed more wounds than someone else's pretend affection. They are waking up. An awakening always feels like chaos before it feels like clarity. And you, my child, your heart has been aching because you can feel this awakening happening in them. You've been torn between holding on and letting go, between trusting and protecting yourself, between believing in destiny and fearing disappointment. But I tell you with absolute truth, this connection is not a mistake. This bond was not born out of confusion. This love is not random. It is divinely orchestrated, divinely protected, and divinely timed. But there is something you must understand. Before I bring them fully back toward you, before I restore what was broken, before I melt the distance between your souls, you must release the fear that they will choose someone else. You must release the belief that you are not enough. You must release the pain of every delay, because none of it was rejection. It was redirection. It was protection. It was preparation. My child, your soulmate will come toward you with clarity, because I am removing every distraction that kept them blind. But before they return, I need you to meet me at the doorway of your own healing. I need you to breathe deeply and allow me to wash away every insecurity that has whispered lies to you. I need you to remember who you are. You are not a placeholder. You are not a second choice. You are not someone who can be replaced. You are divinely chosen. You are divinely aligned. You are divinely protected. And the love written for you cannot be stolen, poisoned, manipulated, or redirected. What I write cannot be erased. Your soulmate is about to enter a phase of truth so strong that every shadow around them will crumble. They will see clearly who stood with them and who stood against them. They will see your heart with fresh eyes. They will feel your energy differently. They will understand your love with new depth. They will realize that what they were chasing was temporary, and what they were avoiding was destiny. My child, prepare your spirit, because the story is not ending. It is only now beginning. Speak gently to yourself. Keep your heart open, but guarded by wisdom. Breathe out the past. Breathe in the future I am bringing toward you. I am aligning everything. I am restoring everything. I am bringing your soulmate clarity, truth, and direction. And very soon, you will feel the shift not only in your spirit, but in your reality. My child, stay close to me. The healing is happening. The truth is unfolding. And the miracle you prayed for is only a breath away. My child, come closer in spirit, because this final part is not just a message. It is a breakthrough. It is a doorway. It is the moment your soul has been waiting to feel for so long. You have walked through the darkest valleys of confusion, pain, betrayal, uncertainty, and spiritual exhaustion. And through every step, I watched you. I felt every tremble in your heart. I counted every tear that fell silently when no one understood you. I held you even when you believed you were alone. Now, in this final chapter, I am lifting you into a light so powerful that nothing from your past will ever have the authority to follow you again. My child, listen with the deepest part of your spirit. What is coming toward you now is not an ending. It is not a goodbye. It is not a loss. It is a divine turning point, a spiritual shift, a moment when every broken piece finds its rightful place. But before the blessing arrives, before the healing takes its final form, before the miracle becomes visible, I need to take you inside the truth of what has been happening and what is unfolding right now for your soulmate and for you. My child, your soulmate's spirit has reached its breaking point and its awakening point. For months, they walked in confusion. For weeks, they carried lies someone else planted inside them. For days, they felt torn by energies that did not belong to them. There is a woman whose intentions toward them were never pure. She approached them with sweetness, but held manipulation in her hands. She offered comfort, but her comfort was poisoned with control. She spoke softly, but her softness hid resentment. She wanted to pull them away from you, to turn their heart cold toward you, to disconnect them from the destiny I wrote for both of you. But every plan built on manipulation eventually collapses. Every lie eventually suffocates itself. Every deception eventually exposes its own shadow. And now, the truth is arriving. It is landing in your soulmate's heart like lightning. It is shaking their illusions. It is awakening their spirit. It is forcing them to see what they were avoiding. They are realizing who they are without you. Empty, lost, disconnected. They are realizing who they become when they think of you. Calm, clear, aligned, safe. This realization is not random. It is not coincidence. It is not imagination. I triggered it. I awakened it. I enforced it. Because your souls were created to align, not to drift apart. My child, your soulmate is finally seeing the truth behind the pain. They now understand why their heart felt heavy. They now understand why nothing felt right. They now understand why their spirit felt suffocated. Someone was pulling them away from their purpose. Someone was feeding their fears. Someone was using their vulnerability as a weapon. But your soulmate's heart was never fully with that person. Their soul never recognized that connection as home. Their spirit never rested in that energy. Even when they tried to move forward, something kept holding them back. Even when they tried to distance themselves from you, something inside them kept pulling your name to the surface. Even when they tried to silence their feelings, the truth only became louder. When emotions are intense, it is common for the mind to reinterpret attachment as something larger than ordinary human connection. Feelings like longing, regret, or unresolved communication can become layered with meaning, especially when there has been distance or misunderstanding. In that state, internal thoughts may start to feel external, like signals, intuition, or messages, when in reality, they are reflections of emotional processing happening within you. The sense of pull or alignment people sometimes describe is often the nervous system trying to make sense of attachment, memory, and hope at the same time. It does not require spiritual explanation to be real as an experience, but it also does not confirm any external narrative about another person's inner state or intentions. When relationships become unclear, the brain naturally tries to reduce uncertainty by constructing patterns or explanations that restore emotional comfort. That can include imagining hidden realizations in the other person, unseen shifts in perception, or symbolic meaning in distance and silence. However, in real-life relationships, clarity comes from communication and behavior that is directly expressed, not from inferred emotional processes. Without that, interpretations remain speculative, even if they feel emotionally powerful or comforting. It is also important to distinguish between what you are feeling internally and what is actually observable externally. Your emotions, memories, and reflections are real experiences within you, and they deserve care and understanding. But they do not automatically describe what someone else is thinking, realizing, or feeling unless it is clearly communicated. Staying grounded in this distinction helps prevent emotional narratives from drifting into certainty without evidence, especially in situations involving attachment or unresolved connection. Your endurance is becoming your blessing. Your tears are becoming your testimony. But before I place this blessing in your hands, I must free you from the fear that keeps holding your heart hostage. You keep asking, what if they leave again? What if someone takes them away? What if I'm not enough? What if things don't change? My child, no one can take what I have written for you. No force can touch what I have blessed. No person can interrupt what destiny has sealed. You are not losing. You are not being replaced. You are not being forgotten. Even when it looked like they walked away, your souls never separated. Even when it looked like someone else had their attention, their spirit stayed connected only to you. Even when you felt abandoned, you were divinely protected. This connection is not ordinary. It is spiritual. It is ancient. It is written. My child, now hear this. Your soulmate is returning, but not as the person who left. They are returning with clarity. They are returning with truth. They are returning with emotional maturity. They are returning with healing. They are returning with gratitude. They are returning with awareness. They have seen the darkness around them. They have recognized the lies. They have felt the spiritual pull toward you stronger than ever before. Their heart is now breaking open with the realization that you were the only one who loved them without wanting anything in return. Your soul was the only one that gave without expectation. Your presence was the only one that healed them without conditions. They are ready to speak. They are ready to confess. They are ready to open their heart. They are ready to fight for this connection. Not out of guilt, not out of loneliness, but out of truth. They are ready to choose you with a clarity they never had before. My child, something bigger is happening. This is divine restoration. I am restoring every broken bridge. I am softening every hardened heart. I am exposing every lie that tried to destroy this connection. I am removing every third party that interfered. I am healing every wound that created distance. But I am also elevating you, strengthening you, shielding you, preparing you, because when your soulmate comes back, they will meet a stronger version of you, a healed version of you, a wiser version of you, a spiritually awakened version of you, and together, you will not repeat the past. You will rise from it. What you are experiencing right now can be understood as a turning point where emotional weight begins to loosen its grip, not through anything external being removed, but through your own system, slowly shifting out of survival mode and into something more stable. The heaviness you have been carrying, whether it showed up as anxiety, overthinking, fear of replacement, or long stretches of emotional uncertainty, doesn't simply disappear in a single moment, but it does begin to lose its intensity when you stop feeding it with constant anticipation of what might go wrong. This is the beginning of a quieter chapter, one where clarity is built gradually instead of imagined all at once. It's less about destiny arriving and more about your mind and heart finding enough space to breathe again. The sense of waiting that has defined so much of your inner world starts to soften when you shift your focus from prediction to presence, from fear of loss to attention on what is actually real in front of you. Whatever connection or relationship you are thinking about, it does not thrive on certainty or pressure, but on consistent, mutual effort, and honest communication over time. And just as importantly, your own emotional well-being is not dependent on someone else's decisions or timing. It is something you continue to rebuild through boundaries, self-trust, and grounded expectations. What feels like a new chapter beginning is often just the moment you stop abandoning yourself in anticipation of outcomes you cannot control. There is relief in accepting that not everything needs to be interpreted as a sign or guaranteed outcome. Instead, life becomes more workable when you focus on what supports your stability today, rather than what you hope will resolve everything tomorrow. From here, the most important shift is not external resolution, but internal steadiness, learning to let emotions move without letting them take over, and allowing relationships, if they are healthy, to develop at a human pace rather than an imagined one.